KILR KILR Games.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. Welcome. I am the Killer Gamer and this is the World Tour featuring SubLogic Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore Amiga computer. Specifically, it's the Amiga 500. That's how the emulator is set up, because the Amiga 500, well, one, it was my very first personal computer. Even though I've been talking about the Commodore 64, that was our family computer at the time. The Amiga was mine. That was my computer. And the Amiga 500 was the first one. And Flight Simulator 2 was one of the first programs that I got. I also got Deluxe Paint and Deluxe Music Instruction Set, along with a weird game called Libyans in Space. And I think I got Marble Madness, at that same time. I don't remember. The Amiga version of Marble Madness was actually pretty good. Anyways, we are here at Bloomington-Normal, and sadly this is the second attempt at recording this video, because the first time I recorded this video I did not start off at Bloomington-Normal. I was off somewhere else, and I couldn't tune in the radios. I couldn't figure out why. When I started off, I was at an airport that had two runways that were crossing. And I figured, oh yeah, this is it, because it didn't save my game, unfortunately. So I had to go in and type in the coordinates to make sure I was back at the airport, and for some reason it threw me somewhere else. I did something and it reset and threw me somewhere. I don't know where, but so I went ahead and I deleted all that, and I'm just starting over. That video went on for an hour, and then my nav radio popped on and said I had like 60 more miles left to go to get to our destination. I'm like, something's not right. So yeah, so here's this video, and hopefully it won't take that long. And I know that we're at the right airport, because this is the VOR for Bloomington, and 1.1 miles, so yeah, this is right. We are where we should be. Now let's talk about where we're going. If you've watched the Commodore 64 series, you already know. So here we are, for real, this time, and this is where we're going. We're going to University of Illinois-Willard in Champaign. This, when I was playing the Commodore 64, would be my southernmost location that I would go. I would start up here at Mirasee Meigs. Sometimes I would go to Chicago Midway or Chicago Hare, but Greater Kankakee was my midpoint, and then I would go all the way down here to University of Illinois, and then kind of work my way back. That was before getting scenery discs. Now on the Amiga, I don't remember if I really flew in this area, like flew to Greater Kankakee or flew to University of Illinois. I may have, just to see what it was like on the Amiga, but I don't remember, because the Amiga defaults to Oakland in California, not Chicago Meigs. So don't know why, but that's what it did. And also, interesting thing enough, University of Illinois-Willard, if you take a look at this, it is the only one listed with an ILS. Now, why is that? I don't know. That's odd. I'm surprised that, O'Hare doesn't have an ILS in there somewhere, or Midway, but yeah. University of Illinois-Willard is the only one with an ILS. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to fly, and so we can take advantage of the ILS in this area. We're going to land at runway 31. So how are we going to do that? Well, here is the airport. Runway 31 would be going this direction. So I would say probably the best thing for us to do is to head out this way, connect up with this this VOR. So we're going to cross, hit an intersection, and that will get us, basically let us know when to turn around and come up this way. So if we go at a radial of 120, we should fly over Frasca Field, and if we do an intersection at 220, that should give us an intersection, what, about here? And then we can turn around here, tune into the ILS, and land at University of Illinois-Willard. Okay. So how do we want to do this? Let's tune in to Vermilion on nav 1, and we'll have Bloomington on nav 2. Just want to make sure I can see how this is written here. Okay. So Bloomington is 108.2. We're going to head out at 120. Well, if it lets me go. Whoops. 120. All right. Now we're going to tune in Vermilion, which I think was 111.00. 73 miles. Okay. And we want to do a radial of 220. We'll go this direction. Okay, that should do it. Just checking my radios, make sure that they're correct. Okay, well, now that we got this, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, this doesn't save it to disk. This saves to what's called a RAM disk, which is, think of it as a cache on your computer, but it's temporary. So the minute you turn your computer off, it's gone. So you would have to take that and then save it to disk is what you would have to do, which is what I tried to do the last time, and apparently it didn't work. So type that in, click Bloom. Actually, I want to delete those. Delete, delete, and then we'll try that again. Okay, so that should just give us 1. In case something goes wrong, I can reload this back up. I don't want to start back from here, but yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get this started. And I think if we just go ahead and leave on the opposite direction of the runway that we're on, that should be good enough. Now this is going to be the last airport on the original Flight Simulator 2 disc. After this, we have to go to a scenery disc, which would be scenery disc number 9, and that will expand the Chicago, Illinois area. So much easier to line up with runways and everything, especially with this center guide. I'll know that I'm definitely following it the way I should be. Whoops. Wrong key. A little bit too fast. Gotta get lined up with this big fat white center line. Hey, this is much better than that thin white line that was in Commodore 64. Trying to line up with that thing was basically impossible. All right, well, let's see. I think we are ready to go. The frame rate is better in this than it was on the Commodore 64, and I was impressed. I was like, oh, this is smoother. In some ways this frame rate is better than FSX or X-Plane, depending upon your computer, and how much stuff you have on it. You might have a very jittery flight sim. Alright, gear is up. We need to get ourselves turned so we can catch our 4 radio. Kind of missing our vector here at the moment. Let's start setting our autopilot. Oh, good. Okay, for, let's see, altitude or heading lock, we want 120. Altitude lock we'll set at 3,000. Bring our throttle down so our engines decide not to go completely out of whack, like it has in some of the other videos where it's just like ring. Looks like it wants to go off here. So it's moving off to 120. So let's go ahead and change this to 121. Okay, well now we just sit back and enjoy the ride. And oh my goodness, what are we going to talk about here during this period? Well, I pulled out my Amiga collection. This is all the stuff that I had from the Amiga. I never sold any of it. I don't even do anything with it, so there was this what'd I do? Put Windows 3.1 on here? This is an Amiga Plus disc, but it's got written Windows 3.1 up the top, so I must have erased over it. Okay, so here is a great game, and actually I do have a video on this channel. You want to look up the Killer Nerd Gamers, but it's this Rocket Ranger. Comes on 2 discs. I played that one a lot. Here is another game that I also have on the channel. Alien Fires. Was it $21.99? And it's funny because your character is referred to as a Time Lord, but it's Time Lord as 2 words. Which I think they had to do that to not get in trouble with the BBC. Here are some other games. These are from Psygnosis, which I thought was like one of the best game makers for the Amiga during the time. There's this one here called Aqua Ventura. and Armageddon, which is kind of like a 3D tape game. There is this program called Cybervision. I can't remember if this came with one of my graphics cards or not, but it's a I want to say it's a paint program, but I think it was actually an image thing, like a Photoshop type of thing. And then we've got Amiga Workbench. Think of this as Windows. The Amiga had Windows before Microsoft had Windows and before Macintosh had Windows. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Amiga came out with it first. But it came with some other discs too. There is, oh my, I think this one's busted. There's this storage. I don't remember what that is. Amiga fonts. It's hard to see because it's blurry. And then something called Amiga Extras. Let's see, and then I have a couple of other discs here in regards to the video toaster. It's like mastering the video toaster, which is like out-of-date technology now. And I've got disc images of all this stuff. Well, not everything that's here, but like my games that I used to play a lot. I think that is Frasca Field right there. So here is another game done by the same people that did Rocket Ranger, which was Cinemaware, which was another great company. SDI. Here's another Psygnosis game. A lot of them were like shoot 'em ups. Some of them were the shmups, where they were side scrollers. Some were 3D. This is Orc. Here's one. Populous. That was the God program. But here's the scary thing. Look who made it. Can you read that? Electronic Arts, EA. That was back when EA was not very big. They were just a small company. This is before they started buying other companies out. When they were actually a decent company. Then there is Shadow of the Beast. That one's 3. I barely played that one. I have the others also. Stun Runner. It's upside down, but this one I played a lot. Test Drive. What other goodies do we have in here? We have this thing. TBC stands for Time-Based Corrector. I forget what I was using this for. I think I was using it to do video or something. Here's another Cinemaware game. The Three Stooges. This is a great game. Wings. And you can actually get that on GOG, as a matter of fact. GOG, they have the classic one, but also Cinemaware. Oh, there's the airport. Cinemaware came back, and through, what was it, Kickstarter? They did a, oh, that's not the airport, that's just a street. They did a remake of Wings with modern graphics and gameplay. The gameplay, it was very faithful to the original for the Amiga. But it's very, very good. I highly recommend it. If you guys are interested, I'll do a video. It was on my list to do. This was a driver for CD-ROMs because they didn't come with the Workbench. This is my original Amiga Workbench disc that came with my Amiga 500. You can tell this thing has got some age to it. Look at the color. Let's see here. It's something called Photon Paint. It was a paint program. Here's another Psygnosis game. Automino. It's hard to see on the camera. Oh yes, this is like among one of the first ones I got. Battle Chess. You can barely see it. It's right there. And the Amiga version of Battle Chess was like the best one. I've seen the other versions and they're just like they're crap. APB. All Points Bulletin. Another Psygnosis game. This is good. Awesome. It lived up to its name. This thing was like 3 discs. There's my other Armageddons. Like, those are 3 discs too. My flight simulator stuff is in here somewhere. That's Image FX. Oh, yes. Here's a classic. Defender of the Crown. It's like the first Cinemaware game. That one's been remade also. Fairy Tale Adventure. This was also really good on the Amiga. Okay, I see the blue. There's our airport right there. Blood Money. That was a good game. Don't know if I really did much with this one. Deep Space. I also did emulation. I did Mac emulation, Macintosh emulation. So there's this thing called Implant. CompuServe. That was my first internet service. Guy Spy and the Crystals of Armageddon. This was done by ReadySoft, which had done the home versions of Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. And then we've got Hard Driving 2. Where the heck is my flight simulator stuff? You telling me it's not in here? Flight Studio, Killing Game. Are you serious? My flight simulator discs on here aren't in here. Where the heck would they be? Where else would I have put them? Oh, that's crazy. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for my original discs. Killing Game Show. That was another good one. I think this was one of the first games that I got for the Amiga, Marble Madness. I noticed my deluxe paint's not in here, and neither is my deluxe music instruction set. So I'm guessing my flight simulator is with it. Well, this is disc 2. Where's the first disc? Lemmings. If you had an Amiga, you were playing Lemmings. That's all there was to it. I have a video on that on this channel too. And that's my Amiga collection. Well, some of it. I'm not sure where the rest of it is. I know there are a couple of other boxes that are like containers like this one that have some discs in it, but they were just like copy save discs and stuff like that. I didn't see any programs and stuff. I must have it somewhere. I would not have sold it. I would not have gotten rid of it, because I had that and I had the scenery discs. Luckily I have images now, but I wanted to find my originals. You know how it is, you box stuff up, you put it away, and then like years later you can't find it. We are looking at Champaign right there. This is the town or city of Champaign, and that's the University-Willard Airport. Here is Frasca Field. It's basically right in front of us right there. I was just looking out the corner. Man, this is bright. It's bright white light. Bright light, bright light. Yep, we're traveling north of the airfield. And if we bring up the map, you can see right here, once I click on it, this is the 120 radio, and it is taking us right north. So we're trying to catch the 220, which is 2122. Intersection should be about here. That might be a little too far, I don't know. Maybe we should do 23. 23 would be about here. That doesn't give us a whole lot of room to turn around and try to hit the ILS. Now, we'll stick with the plan. We'll stick with 220, so when we hit that, we'll go at a radio of 220, and then we'll need to tune in the ILS. I wonder if I got... I wonder if I have that. I know where my box is with my Amiga stuff, and I'm wondering if I had that blue binder that SubLogic has. You're probably wondering what I'm talking about. I know it's hard to find, but I wonder if I had that, and I had all my flight simulator stuff in there. I had it for the Commodore 64. Don't have that anymore. Man, that... with the scenery discs. Oh man, that would be worth something today. All this nasty sound here. Okay, let's see here. Should be this one. Okay, so here is the... This is the binder I'm talking about here. It looked like this. I think you had to specially order this from SubLogic. But you would put your scenery discs, you could put them in here. Oh, I have this binder. I know I've got it. I got this for the Amiga. I'm pretty sure of it. Because I had the maps and I put them in here. I know I've got this sitting around somewhere. I don't think I ever got rid of it. Win a trip from SubLogic and TWA. Well, now there's an airline I haven't heard from in a while. Do you think anyone ever got that trip before TWA went bye-bye? All entries must be postmarked no later than November 15, 1988. When did TWA go out of business? Does anyone remember? I don't know. I got to keep an eye on my instruments here. TWA. Let's find out. Trans World Airlines. Wikipedia. Man, I wish I had this back in the 80s. TWA was a major American airline that existed from 1930 until 2001. Okay, so it was around. Howard Hughes acquired control of TWA in 1939. Blah, 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 blah. I remember these, this look. That one, TWA. In my later simulators, I want to get some TWA traffic flying around in my game. Just because I want some TWA and some Pan American. So what if it's not accurate? I don't care. I want my retro airliners flying around. Now I'm inspired to find that Amiga binder. Because I didn't think I had that binder anymore, because I was thinking of the Commodore 64. And then I started remembering that I think I had that binder for the Amiga, and I put all of my Amiga stuff in there. This is gonna suck. I know where it's at. It's all the way in the back of my house, at the very back corner, underneath a bunch of other stuff. Those are just empty boxes, though. The fact that my flight simulator stuff is not sitting in this container tells me it's all together sitting somewhere else. And that's gotta be that binder. Oh man, if I've got that, if I do have that binder, that's like freaking gold. That is like gold, man. Because I've seen people on the internet saying that they're looking for one. Looks like we're getting close to our radio. And Flight Simulator 2, that was my prized possession on the Amiga. That was my thing. I know I wouldn't have sold that. I kept my Amiga stuff. I loved my Amiga. I don't know why my Deluxe Paint and Deluxe Music instruction set aren't sitting inside this box. Oh, crud, we have to turn autopilot off. Oh, no, we can turn on Vorlock. Ha 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 ha. That will work. I think we traveled a little too far away from... That's okay, this should get us back on track. Because we don't see the airport now. It should be off over in this direction. This thing is not doing a really fast job of turning us. Come on, autopilot. It's like, oh, let me just kind of slowly move you over there. Let me see if I can help it out a little bit. You'll notice that this was moving. And then it centers itself automatically. I'm like, let me just turn it a little bit more here. Alright. That should do it. Alright, we are locked in at 220. The University of Illinois is at 110. So we're 19 miles away. Well, we should have plenty of room to... Uh-oh. We better get back to 220. Here, we'll do this. 220. Turn off VOR 1 lock. There we go. Now we'll go back, we'll change this to 1110. Now we know we got 19 miles to go. And... let's see. What was that runway? It was 13, wasn't it? 31, okay. Runway 31. I'm going to tune this in. This is a backup. This is a backup, so that way when we see this radio, we'll hit it and we'll start going towards it. Alright, the ILS is 109.1. 109.1. Yay! It worked. I wasn't sure if we were close enough. There we go. Well, we're set then. We just need to keep flying this heading. And we should start seeing this move here soon. And then we can turn And there should be... I see some blue. Yeah, some blue right there. There's the airport. Our destination is upon us. But first we have to travel into the black. I am gonna find that blue binder. Where did I put that blue binder? Man. Now I'm like excited with anticipation that I've got it somewhere. Okay, it's time to start our turn. We have to turn off that. If I find my blue binder, that means my maps are going to be in there. I'll have my original maps. It's like, please? Please. Be where I can find it and where it's not damaged. Okay, time to line up here. Let's turn our autopilot off. Bring down our landing gear and one thing of flaps. Alright, our vertical is coming into play here. increase our power. Oops. I hit too much flaps there. I was hitting the wrong key. I was trying to adjust my trim is what I was trying to do. Come on. We're at 315. We should be linking up here. Seven miles from the airport. Trying to adjust our rate of descent so we can kind of match up with this as soon as it comes down. I have no idea why we're not centered on the VOR just yet, but I'm going to turn us this way. There's our outer light. Why am I off course here? There it goes, finally. Trying to adjust my throttle so that way we can get our rate of descent. I think I see the runway, but I don't think that is particularly lined up very well. It looks like it should be right in front of me because we are like right on it, but now look at that. Now we're off again. All right, 315. Okay, I think I see it. Let's move over a little bit more. See the runway. Runway is right here. There's our middle light. Look at the vertical line. That thing's going out of control. Nice and easy here. Okay. I'm always worried that I'm going to sit there and like stall at the very last moment and then go head down. There's the fuel. Right over there. Coming up to our box, our fuel box. Not that we used a whole lot of fuel, but come on. Come on. Even though if our fuel's going down, I think I had it selected on the options, but okay, all right, so we are here at Champaign, University of Illinois-Willard, and well, the video's almost an hour long, but hey, we had some things that we're going over with my Amiga collection and the possibility that I might have that blue binder. Ooh, I'm just so hoping I got it. All right, Well, that is it for this video, and be sure to watch this same flight on the other simulators. And in the meantime, I will see you next time on the Amiga flight. Remember, we're going to be in scenery disk number 9. Number 9, number 9, number 9. If you thought this flight was interesting, then you might want to check it out on these other flight simulators that you see on your screen. It's just a fun way to relive old memories and see how things changed over the years. Be sure to subscribe to be notified of any new videos, and I'll see you on the next flight.